You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
And together we are
Road Break.
And welcome to NXT on Tuesday nights. You know, like the second week of this show being on a Tuesday, we're going to be talking about everything. Like any WWE show, some things are okay. You got to kind of nitpick. You got to really dig for good stuff. But at least on this show, we got to show a new debut in Sarray. You know, she's the debut of her. Like, that was really cool. We actually also see, a pretty good match with Kushida, another open challenge. But, a lot of things that, NXT at least is trying to make it better. Thing overall, though, is still, is not there yet. It needs to cook a little more.
Oh, yeah. This episode of NXT, you touched on all the, the legit matches. And one other thing they did is they kind of planted some seeds for the future. We'll talk about some of the future matchups that they're teasing and that plan for the coming weeks. A lot of them look really good. Some of them, it's the same old shit. But, overall, I think this was just NXT. This wasn't a great show. It wasn't a bad show. To me, it was just a normal NXT. You get a couple good segments and the rest of it, that's just normal NXT.
It's true. So, family, thank you so very much for being with us. Thank you for the subscriptions, comments, and also the likes that you give us. Please continue doing so. That's all we need. We're at 900, 100 away for our first 1,000. Help us out to reach to that level. Please help us out. And, the best way, check out the Monday Night Raw review video. Lily made me do it. Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, Lily made you subscribe to Road Break.
Yeah, please, please, go along with what Lily's saying. Go along with that. Hey, subscribe to Road Break so we get a little bit of insight what Alexa Bliss and Lily, there's history together and all of that. Like Jean-Paul was saying, maybe she has now superpowers. We'll see what they do. Outside of that, Maze and also T-Bar wearing masks. So, we got to see men being a tag and finally away from Retribution. So, please check that out. So, family, let's move on to, the beginning of the show, Paul. And we got to see Orange Cassidy, Bruno Mars. But, no, we didn't get to see Kyle O'Reilly. I don't know why they put that.
Yeah, I was surprised. I'm like, are they doing more AEW, WWE? First it was Jericho and Broken Skulls. Now it's Orange Cassidy here, on NXT. But, no, Kyle O'Reilly, I don't know what this outfit choice was. But, he was rocking it, I guess.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. He came out, very trying to be Orange Cassidy, trying to be Bruno Mars. I didn't like that, We need intensity from this guy. We need, more like a killer instinct, like we saw in the end. But at the beginning, was completely lame, very weak, not presented the way that he should be. He beat Adam Cole, and he's like, well, I feel at peace for the first time ever. I don't feel like I have to deal with Adam Cole anymore. He's past me. All of that, so we get to see that, but the way that he presented it, the way he said it, it was really lame for me. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, no, he was just, joking around, being real funny. He's like, oh, can't you tell I'm in a good mood? And it's why? Why are you in a good mood? Your friend group of how many years is completely destroyed. You just went through hell a couple weeks ago. Okay, yeah, you won. Yeah, you should be feeling good about that, but he should come here and be like, I beat Adam Cole, but I'm not satisfied because until I'm the NXT champ, I got to keep going. I got to keep fighting. Don't matter what hell I go through until I'm NXT champ, I have to keep fighting. And boom.
Yeah. No, yeah,
all that carrying cross. Be legit. Yeah. Instead, Kyle O'Reilly's legit in the ring, but I don't know who booked this promo. If they gave him an open mic and said, go out and do what you want, it was bad.
It was really bad, and then Cameron Grimes came out, and also they were going along with the promo. Cameron Grimes is saying, hey, you beat Adam and Cole, you would stand and deliver, on NXT and the pay-per-view and all of that. So they kind of joking around, they really going along, they're kind of like a team or they're best friends and everything. And then Kyle O'Reilly finally says, hey, I have a main event match, and then it's against somebody, and then she just starts fooling around one more time, and then he finally put the glasses back on, and it's you. So, you see that the main event is going to be Cameron Grimes against Kyle O'Reilly. Poor Cameron Grimes. Every time he has something legit, always gets jobbed out. His character is so good, but again, the goodness of it gets taken away every single time because he always loses. He never gets the upper hand. So I don't like that either.
Oh yeah, he should be a heel that's presented in the mid-card. He's not a main event heel because to me that's somebody like an LA Knight or I can't even Karrion Kross. Yeah, who's the champion? Yeah, Karrion Kross. Yeah. Somebody like that to me is a main event heel. Cameron Grimes would be a great mid card heel, But every time he starts to get momentum, like you said, they just completely shit on him. They just beat him up, make him look like a fool. And that's what they did here. But he should have had gold already.
Oh yeah, they should do that with Cameron Grimes. At least, like you said, maybe just like get the upper hand out of people, not just jobbed out, because he has the talent. He's a good wrestler. So let's move really quick. So like before Sarray debuts, like she got like like William Regal is really welcoming her and all of that, but then Zoe Starks completely is crushes that, and she's like, hey, can I have the first match with her? I would like to be their debut match, and she agrees to it. So good stuff about like I was like maybe Zoe Stark, like they put all the faith in her. I know she's a great performer, but why keep jobbing out to people, to big names? I mean, you get the match, but I don't know why you will do that.
Yeah, I think she's one of those people who they do this with a lot. They did this with like Keith Lee early on in his career. He would have matches, he would lose, but he always looked good. I think they're doing this because they have faith in her, to put her in all, like Toni Storm at Stand and Deliver on the pre-show. She had a match against Io Shirai, tag team match with
Io. The match with Raquel, too.
Yeah, with Raquel. The match with just Raquel, singles match. So she's been in a lot of hope and high-profile matches. So, to me, this was a great opponent for her for Shirai's debut, and I knew it was going to be a good match.
Yeah, it was going to be a good match. So let's go before that. Let's get to like right there, Indy Hartwell. Like we got to see that she had some fun last week, not last night, maybe last night too. We don't know that, but she was just like going back to this because we're going to see LA Knight going against Dexter Lumis. And at least the right winner came out of this. I'm very happy with it. Match quality, not too great. I mean, LA Knight is like a great promo, great wrestler. But again, Dexter Lumis is, I don't want to say he's limited in the ring. He's pretty good, but the character itself is a little limited. But they kept teasing the idea, like Indy came out, like she caused distraction for both men. LA Knight kind of like taunting her, hey, I'm better. Why are you looking at this guy? All of that. And then, Dexter Lumis got really distracted. And then once he's coming back to the ring, he gets like that face buster or something that LA Knight does, and then he gets the win. So what did you think of this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you about Dexter Lumis. He's pretty limited now. And I think that's because of his character. He kind of has to stalk the ring and be like that serial killer, weird type vibe. But LA Knight was great, and of course, most of the time where he was on offense and looked really good, it was in the picture-in-picture. So of course, we really couldn't see it because nobody watched the picture-in-picture. So thanks for that. But the distraction with Indy Hartwell and stuff. I mean, to me, it's whatever. But it kind of killed it because it seems like Lumis is, it wasn't like, oh, you cost me the match, now I hate you. He's still infatuated with her, and I was almost thinking, oh, maybe they're gonna pull a really big swerve and she distracted him on purpose, and then she's gonna be like, haha, I like LA Knight now, and she's just hopping from guy to guy, and that would have been legit, to get some heat on her for a heel and everything. But and also with the finish that he didn't hit it good. I don't know if that was his
that
fault,
was bad. Yeah,
or if it was Dexter Lumis's fault, but he was at least maybe 10 to a foot away from hitting the mat, and it was supposed to be, like you said, a face buster or a DDT or something like that. It didn't look good, but I didn't actually think that was going to be the pin because of how shitty it looked. I'm like,
it looked really bad, yes. But at least, LA Knight won.
Yeah, at least we got the right winner.
And, like the way he pulled out Indy because they were going to have that kissing moment, like the romantics and stuff. That didn't happen. That's good because, again, that's a little comical. It's fine. That's what we got. So 2 seconds on this. Leon Ruff, kind of a promo on Swerve Scott. Do we care about it? No. Are we going to mention anything about it? Maybe they're going to have another match. Hopefully Swerve Scott beats one more time Leon Ruff because, again, this feud is absolutely irrelevant and uninteresting for anybody. Not even them two, they care about this.
Yeah, nobody is into this feud. Maybe at first, when he was talking shit, making fun of Leon Ruff got a win. Okay, to me, when they had that blow-off match, the final match, that was it.
Yeah.
But it's still going on, and it's
like, no, we don't want to see it. We don't care for it. What we do care for is Io Shirai. We got to hear from the champion because remember that the last time we saw her, it was the Stand and Deliver. So
former champ.
Yeah, former champ. So we got to hear what's going on in her head, what's happening, what is she going to do next. So she says, hey, I had a 300-day, title reign. So it was good. I enjoyed it. Raquel Gonzalez was the biggest and the toughest challenge that I had. They even went over some of the spots of the match. Like, that really hurt. So she said, what are you going to do next? Beth is asking, and she's like, well, I'm going to rest. I'm on a resting order for me to come back, so I don't see it. Maybe she's not going to be called up yet. So that's a good thing because, again, she's going to just flounder in the main roster.
She also said that she wants her rematch, too, at some point. So it's like, she's still want to be in that title picture. But I like that though. Like, she's taking a step back, and it's like, okay, I was hoping that it's like, oh, don't give me the rematch right away, and then Io loses, because then what are you going to do with her? But thankfully, like I said, they're planting seeds for legit stuff, because who interrupted?
Right there, yeah. Frankie Monet, Taya Valkyrie interrupted, and she's like, "Hey, the dog was like, casual, like, and the dog steps in the picture and everything's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to do this." And then it's like, hey, she introduces to both of them, hey, you were a great champ, great title reign, and then Beth, I've been idolizing you for for all this my life and all of that. I've been a huge fan. So like, you got to see like there's gonna be a feud here. I'm thinking Io's gonna lose on this, but at least hey, it's not gonna be a championship feud, so that's fine. Hey, she's going to try to put Frankie over, so that's okay. And then in the end, Io goes and starts talking Japanese. Of course, like Frankie doesn't understand any of that. And then she looks at the dog and she's like, I like cats. So, that's the beginning of the feud, and I'm pretty excited about it. I know you are also.
Oh, yeah, this is one I'm looking forward to because it's two legit women wrestlers, and they're going to be, giving us great matches. And this is a good high-profile feud because we saw Frankie, she came out, kind of called out Raquel, and you're like, oh, is she going right to the title picture? No, it seems like her first feud is going to be with Io, so I'm looking forward to it.
Exactly, Paul. And let's go to La Gilzion Berrens. That's my guys, like, oh, you stupid, like, Yanks. I love that, ignorant Yanks, because Fandango, Breezango were there, like Tyler Breeze and Fandango, kind of like the British, like, like how the soldiers are, or like, I love,
yeah, like, the Royal Guard, or whatever they call it.
Yeah, the royal, like, the securities that they look like, oh, like, typical ignorant Yanks. When he said that, Paul, that was the line of my life. Of my life, when a Brit comes like that, absolutely amazing. So they had the match, and of course, like you said, Fandango and Breezango were great wrestlers, but unfortunately never presented legit. Always cosplay, always like jokes, never really given the opportunity. Even when they were the champions, nobody believed, oh yeah, they're dominant champions, they're going to have a long reign. No, it's just like, hey, they throw a bone at you, you get it, hey, I'm going to play with it until like they take it away from me, right?
Yeah, and I know, this division, or this show rather, well, I guess the division, sorely needs tag teams. So you don't want to get rid of them. But to me, Fandango, I don't know what you do with him. I don't really care. But you turn Tyler Breeze back into Prince Pretty. Give him the best, the selfie stick, the long blonde hair and the ponytail, all that stuff. To me, he would, this show, I think, would do better having him in a singles role mixed in, with Johnny Gargano, LA Knight, Cameron Grimes, all that, the North American Championship picture. So that's where I think he would fit in. Because in the tag team, like you said, they're just jokes. When this match came on, was there anybody watching who thought, oh, Breezango's going to win?
Oh, yeah, no.
Everybody knew that grizzled young veterans were going to win. And this match wasn't even that contested. They're done pretty dominantly.
No, and, like, pretty much, like, they did, of course, like, their biggest moves and all of that. Like, what is the ticket to mayhem?
Yeah.
Like, the ticket to mayhem. I love it, that move and all of that. So, like, they win. But, again, they're taunting because they should be the champions. For me, you want to have dominant champions, legit champions. They should be the champions instead of MSK. I'm sorry, but these guys, like, everything that they do, you believe in them. Every single line. The promo work is pretty solid. All of that. So, like, they should be the winners for me. So, now let's go to the way. The way is, like, of course, the comical side of Johnny Gargano. It doesn't work. I don't care how much you try to make it work. I don't care what you do to make it work. It just doesn't work. It's just an idea that is not sitting for anybody. So, we got to see Indy right there. She was trying to go over Loomis, looking for him. Then Candice is stopping her. And then you see also Bronson Reed. They keep trying to see, like, hey, I still have my sights on that title. And it's like, hey, you lost. At least the line is, like, makes sense. You get back in the line, right? Because that's how we should be.
Yeah, that's how it is.
That's how it should be, like, instead of like, oh, like I get 20 rematches, and then also he goes he says, well, I talk to Regal and I'm gonna have a match with you, and if you can beat me, then you can challenge for the title one more time. And he's like, dude, last week he beat you, and then he pokes at like the abs, and he's like, oh, I'm done. So again, segments that easily could be deleted from the show, don't you think?
Yeah, it's just bad. And I mean, if they wanted to have Bronson Reed be the champ, why not just give him the win at TakeOver?
Yes.
Why do this where you have Austin Theory's an idiot and he's like, oh, I talked to a Regal and I'm going to fight him, and then if he beats me, then he gets a title shot, and Gargano's freaking out and everything, and it's, okay, he's probably going to beat Theory, and he's probably going to, so then he's going to have the title shot, and let's say he wins it, then what was the point? Why not have the guy go over at TakeOver? I don't know why WWE is like, we'll have these guys win titles on free TV instead of having the big moment on the pay-per-view.
Yes, exactly. I don't know why they keep doing that, and but like at least we saw we thought it was going to be this week. It's going to be next week. So for you guys to see right there, you were going to have the picture in just a little bit, but like that's what's going to get. What are you thinking about this? Like like Cameron Grimes kind of like saying that he might be managed by Teddy DiBiase and all of that. So there's an idea they might bring him on to manage Cameron Grimes. That will be good, but hopefully that means that he's going to become a main event player. Because
I think sorry to cut you off. But I think he has to, especially if you bring DiBiase on, because he's kind of like the modern day version of it. Now, I'm not saying he's as legit as DiBiase because, DiBiase's badass. Even before $1 Million Man and Mid-South, I won't go into the history, but DiBiase's legit. Cameron Grimes is presented more goofy, but, DiBiase could kind of, set him straight, be like, all right, let's be legit here. And, he keeps referencing him. Like when he first did this gimmick, remember they did the basketball thing? Yes. And now here, because he's like, he was buying one of those NFTs or something, and he's like, you've been outbid, and he's reading it, we're sorry, you've been outbid by Ted DiBiase. And he freaks out. He's like, this is bullshit. So, now referencing him a second time. I would love to see it, whether they do it or not. That's entirely up to them, obviously. We'll have to wait and see, but I would love to see it.
Exactly. We'll see what happens.
And also, they love their nostalgia. They love to be like, hey, remember this guy from 30 years ago? That's how you cash in. Here's Ted DiBiase. Come out in the suit, his laugh. Like all the... Yeah,
money. Yeah, exactly. So tell me a little bit about this. Sarray finally debuts. The girl is looking great. Zoe Starks, they had a pretty good match. Really solid, out of like the whole show, probably this and Kushida, that was like the best matches of the night. And, Zoe Starks one more time steals the show for me. What a girl. Probably the best signee that I've seen so far in NXT. And you probably guys are asking why. Because every single week she's been put with a different main event player. Yet she has not looked bad. So I like that. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and she actually looked really dominant in this match. I mean, just the hard, these two, and she can go with like kind of almost anybody's style, really. Like, she's been in there with a lot of, heavy hitters, like Toni Storm, she's pretty heavy hitter. Obviously, Raquel is, powerful and stuff. Io she kept up with, she's been in there with a lot of different women. And like you said, she's been able to hold her own, carry herself. And to me, she's a future NXT Women's Champ because she's so good. I can't tell you a bad match that she's had that's her fault. Like maybe she was in there with people who it's like, they kind of suck in the tag match or something. But Zoe Starks always looks legit.
Oh yeah, and and Sarray pretty there you go showing, and again the same intensity as Asuka, same precision as Asuka because I saw every single time like you said the forearms, really good stuff, and also like the suit, like the kick that she did, and then like a few. Like
I love the spin, the spinning heel kicks and all that stuff. Yeah, the Muda lock early on, which of course, what's his name, Michael Cole Jr. He didn't know what it was. He's like, look at this submission. It's like okay,
Yeah,
I did not know the Muda lock, but. This was a good. The only thing I didn't like about her is when she before she bridged back and grabbed the chin for the Muda lock, she just kind of had like the sharpshooter in on the legs. She was like clapping, like "Come on, guys, clap!" And
she made it more like fun. Yeah.
Am I watching AEW or am I watching something legit here? But no. I mean, this was a good debut for her. But honestly, like she got the win, and that was important. But if you're going if I'm judging this match just based off points, like a boxing fight or something. To me, Zoe Starks wins because she was way more dominant in this match. So I'm excited to see where they go with both of these women. But one thing I want to see is, where's Xia Li? Speaking about the women, what happened to that story?
The best division in the world, but also you need more time to keep featuring everybody because even Toni Storm came out and then she went against Zoe because they had the match to take over in the pre-show and Zoe went over. So you'll see that the feud is not over yet. So maybe Sarray is going to go against Toni. That was going to be the second feud that she's going to have, and then of course she's going to go over. So poor Toni, she keeps losing and losing and losing. I don't think she has found her niche yet on NXT. We'll see what happens on that. So we stay in the women's division, Paul. We go to Raquel. Raquel just pretty much sends a warning to everybody in the women's division. She says, "Hey, I'm the champion. I'm the campeona, and whoever wants to do this, let's do it." So we're ready for these matches to happen. I'm going to go for it every single one of them till there's nobody left. Good promo by the champ, don't you think?
Oh yeah, this was good, and of course you have Dakota Kai. She's because what's her name? Yeah, Mackenzie. She's like, oh, all the women are coming after you. She's like, oh, why are you fishing? Why are you trying to, get comments and get bullshit out of us? And they asked about, Mercedes Martinez and all this stuff. But the way Dakota was kind of talking and all this, I feel like eventually she's going to betray Raquel.
Yeah.
I feel like they're setting up for that because it's going to be, hey, all these women have these opportunities, but what about me? Because you always hear, she never says, oh, Raquel beat them or Raquel did this. She's always like, we. And it's like, what did you really do? You know what I mean? So I could easily see some kind of split happening, which I think needs to, because, no offense to Dakota Kai, she's legit, but Raquel's the champ, and it's like you can't have your little buddy there with you. You gotta, when you're the champ, what does they say?
We've seen it with Shawn Michaels, Diesel, so like pairs like that, short, big, all of that. We've seen that happening before, so it's gonna happen. So we'll see what they do, how they make this betrayal happen. So every single week, every single show, we got to see this, right? An open challenge, brand new champion Kushida, open challenge for the Cruiserweight Championship. We didn't see Santos Escobar right away, so that's fine. Kushida came out. She had a promo also. Everybody, so the media in Japan, celebrating the fact that Kushida became the Cruiserweight champion.
My boy, Steve Corino, as well.
Steve Corino was right there, on the former ECW guy, the original CM Punk, like you said, really cool stuff. So then, Only Lorcan comes out, and, they had a really good match, really contested. For the guys that love hard-hitting matches, right there is your treat. Because this was really, really good. A lot of action. Only Lorcan didn't look bad. He's pretty much lost because of Birch. Without him, there's no more tags, so he needs to find something to do for the guy. But I think he did a really good job, with this match. And in the end, like you said, this kind of matches, we know the title is not going to switch hands. So tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, everything you said, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Both these guys can go. They kind of have similar styles. Only Lorcan's a little bit more, lanky and everything, but just really fast-paced, hard-hitting styles, and this was good. But Kushida, we knew he wasn't going to lose here, so it's like, okay, like no offense, but it's like once you saw the his theme, you're just like, oh, okay, legit, Kushida's going to win. But a great match, and Kushida, I always make the jokes, I'm happy he got the payday for being Cruiserweight champ. He can afford ring gear. He doesn't have to come out there in jeans and the tank top and everything. So. Legit hoverboard lock. Eventually, Only Lorcan tapped out. So good winner. But then, of course, of course, it couldn't just be Kushida celebrating like and just end segment, and then we go to the next segment because we saw Legato's music. They come out. Kushida kind of throws him out of the ring, takes him out, and again, it's like okay, he's kind of beating up three guys that didn't make sense. But
and he's Kushida, right? Yeah, he's not Karen Cross.
Exactly, and then but then they kind of went back at him again, and then we saw MSK, which to me doesn't really make any sense because the Grizzled Young Veterans keep calling them out. Don't you think they would kind of be worried about them? Grizzled Young Veterans keep getting wins in the tag division. They're eventually going to be number one contenders, and to me, and I know you agree, so I don't even need to ask you. They need to take the titles from MSK.
Yeah,
MSK is they started off legit, but to me they fell completely flat. They had the story with Nash Carter, with his father, this was our dream, for me to get here, all this stuff, really emotional. And then, they cashed it on that and they had me with that. It's like, okay, that's real. That's not like made up storyline, that's real. But then, then they go back to being goofy and it's just,
it's not good.
You lose all that emotional, legitness. So, and why Kushida? Why get involved in this? They should be like, we're the tag champs. What the hell do we care about?
They should be maybe cutting a promo on the Grills on Veterans, saying something about, because if the one team is calling you out, you got to answer, but they didn't do that. Yeah. So, of course, in WWE fashion, we got to give it to them. You said it. They're going to have a six-man tag. Of course, Kushida and MSK against the Legado del Fantasma. Lazy booking, it just give you better predictable booking.
And I bet, and I'm going to give you a prediction, I bet you Santos will pin Kushida in this match.
And then what does that mean? Then he's gonna get the rematch. So maybe for next takeover in a few weeks, that will main event.
But he don't even have to because was Kushida's open challenge only 1 week?
Yeah. So is
he gonna be like a John Cena who has an open challenge every week? It's because maybe Santos should have just waited for the open challenge.
Yes, that's not gonna be good. So let's talk about Mamita now. Mercedes Martinez is talking about hey, she talks about I called you out, Raquel, and you haven't answered. You haven't said anything in your promo, but Dakota did. And so he's like, well, then next week I'm going to take care of Dakota. And once I'm done with her, then there's nobody going to be anybody left. for you and me to just square off, and I'm going to take the NXT Women's Championship from your waist. So we'll see, and of course in WWE fashion, Dakota Kai and Mercedes Martinez are going to go next week. Also Bronson Reed against Austin Theory, and if Bronson wins, they're going to have another American match. We'll see what happens on that. At least in Mercedes, I'm seeing it's going to be a good feud. She's going to take care of Dakota. Maybe that will cause some friction also with Raquel, and then we'll see what happens. With the NXT Women's Championship. The North American side, not really too excited about this because we've seen it again. And like you said, if they wanted to put the title on Bronson, they should have done it at TakeOver. That's all.
I agree with you. I'm excited for the women's thing because Mercedes Martinez versus Raquel Gonzalez is like, it's two sides of the same coin. They're both big, powerful, badass women. The promos back and forth, English and Spanish, all this stuff. It's great. But Bronson Reed and the way that feud, not so much. So,
nope.
One thing I'm really looking forward to, and the other, that
the other one is whatever. Another whatever. You want more whatever? Let's give you more whatever. Right there. We got to see Ever Rise. Have they ever rise? No. Have they ever risen? No, and they're never going to. Against Imperium, this was lazy. This was quick. We got to see also like Dre Maverick, Killian Dane. They're going to prolong the feud. Walter's not even there because he's probably in the UK. So, the problem here, the biggest problem is having Walter in both shows. He should just be exclusive for one show because, again, here's the Walter being on NXT takes away from NXT UK. So it makes it really weak.
The biggest problem is that Walter didn't drop the title to Dragunov or Rampage Brown.
Yes.
That's the biggest problem. And if they're setting up for the Finn Balor feud, since Finn Balor lost to Cross, okay, what's he going to do next? If Balor beats Walter, then he has to go to NXT UK. You can't have this, you're on this show, then you're on this show, then you're on that. No, you need to just be on one show. Because it's not like they mention NXT UK constantly on this show to try to promote it. No. There's no like, Walter, NXT UK champ. It's not like they mention that.
There's no connection, show and show. There's no connection. So like that, why would you, if you keep doing that, that's fine because you could easily trade guys. But since there's no mention in either show, or if the mentions don't even are significant, why would you do that? But exactly. Right that you saw like Imperium getting the win, and okay, Ever Rise, okay, yeah.
And I know I mentioned this before, but to me, now this could be a stretch, but we already know Robert Stone is like a parody of Tony Khan. To me, Ever Rise is like a parody of the Young Bucks.
No, he is the Young Bucks. It is what it is. Like they have the same kind of gear. They and all
that's why I wish that Ever Rise would be managed by Robert Stone.
Oh, that would be an AEW shot, like a big time.
Because they already have Orange Cassidy. He could just get Kyle O'Reilly and then be legit.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go to the main event. And like you said, you mentioned Orange Cassidy right there. He had a stare down when Karrion Kross. See, that was at least good because it kind of seems that it's going to be the championship feud. Of course, Karrion Kross is going to go over. There's no way that Kyle O'Reilly is going to become champion because, I would be like, Finn Balor couldn't do what, Kyle O'Reilly's doing. I think that Adam Cole will come out and then they still have some finished business that they need to, conclude and all of that. But, they have the big stare down right there. And the match with Cameron Grimes, pretty good. Cameron Grimes is always good at, having good matches. But, again, if he doesn't win, what does that tell me? He's always, he always coming short. Is that what am I supposed to believe? But what did you think? Very good.
Yeah, Cameron Grimes is a hell of a wrestler. O'Reilly, we already know how great he is. So I knew this just match quality. This would have been good, and that's what it was. But you see the stare down there. What did we say? There's no real clear-cut number one contender for Karrion Kross. I guess it's Kyle O'Reilly. There's nobody really else. So you knew he wasn't going to lose here. You knew he's going to get some wins to eventually go after Karrion Kross. And Cameron Grimes, like you mentioned it, we've seen this guy, but he always loses. So what did we expect here? Did we expect a win? No, we expected a loss. And that's what happened. I mean, again, it was a great match. I'm not going to be like, this match sucked. But when you already know the outcome, are you really going to be that excited
exactly.
for it? No, not really.
You can, yes, you can. So, unfortunately, he got the win, with his new move and all of that. He has new gear, he has new music, all of that. But see, the way that, he at least acts when he fights, that's how he should be all along. He should be playing that character. Not I'm goofy, I want to be Orange Cassidy, I want to be Bruno Mars, I've been locked out of heaven, all of that, the way you are. No, I don't need that. I don't need Grenade, I don't need any of that. It's okay, legit from the beginning till the end. No, it's all my hands and no, I don't need that. But unfortunately, that's what we got. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was almost expecting some kind of swerve, maybe because they had that stare down, maybe Karrion would have came out, and it not that he would have got involved, but just walked out on the ramp on the stage. Kyle O'Reilly gets distracted, cave in 1, 2, 3. Because then again, that because they're going with O'Reilly and Karrion Kross regardless. But Cameron Grimes wins, that would be a big win for him. That would maybe push him to now I can go after the North American Championship, or I can do this, whatever. Maybe we'll see Grimes versus Karrion Kross as an in between, whatever. But this is the feud they're setting up for. So it wouldn't have mattered. I would have rather seen Cameron Grimes win, but we'll see where they go.
We'll see what happens. So this is NXT for you guys, family. Thank you so very much. Hope you guys can help us. Like I said, we're 900. Can we get to that 1,000? Help us out. Keep clicking that subscribe button. Keep clicking those, thumbs up for like the videos, the bell for notifications, and where else, Paul?
And then make sure you follow us Rope Break on Facebook, OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
More is, cosplay time now. We're going to be talking about AEW Dynamite, so get ready for that. So at least one show every day, a lot more manageable, family. Thank you so very much. We'll see you then. You and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...